It's 2 p.m. in the Gulf of Oman. The USS Harrow, a U.S. Navy destroyer, is on routine patrol as part of a larger carrier group. The ship's crew is scattered around doing normal afternoon work, maintenance checks, radar monitoring, cleaning duties, and watch shifts. Nothing seems unusual, but everything is about to change in seconds. What the crew doesn't know is that Iranian forces have been tracking them for the past 50 minutes, and they are confident that they can catch the Americans off guard. But this decision is about to backfire. In just minutes, the Iranians will regret the attack and learn a harsh lesson that striking a U.S. destroyer never ends well. Radar operators on the U.S. destroyer pick up something new. Several fast-moving objects approaching at low altitude from the northwest. At first, it's just a faint trace on the screen, but it quickly becomes clear they're not friendly aircraft. Their speed and flight pattern match anti-ship cruise missiles. Within seconds, more are detected coming from a slightly different angle. Sea-skimming missiles are designed to fly very close to the water's surface, making them harder to detect and giving defenders less time to react. In this case, the incoming missiles are only tens of miles away, closing in at hundreds of miles per hour. The ship's defensive systems are brought online instantly. Orders are given to prepare for missile intercept. The Harrow's missile launchers open, and the first defensive missiles shoot out of their tubes, heading toward the threats. The cruiser, USS Antietam, sailing nearby, also launches interceptors. The first incoming missile is destroyed well before reaching the ship. Based on its radar signature and flight profile, it's identified as likely being a Noor, an Iranian copy of the Chinese C-802 anti-ship cruise missile. The Noor travels at around 0.9 times the speed of sound, just under 700 miles per hour, and flies barely 15 to 20 feet above the sea to stay hidden from radar until the last possible moment, more than enough to cripple a destroyer if it hit. An SMA-2 surface-to-air missile fired from the USS Harrow meets it head-on, destroying it in a bright flash well short of the fleet. The second missile, approaching from a slightly different angle, is intercepted in the mid-course phase by an evolved Sea Sparrow missile launched from the cruiser USS Antietam. The third manages to get closer, skimming just above the waves. Hitting a target this fast, this low, and this small is notoriously difficult. There's little room for error, and any delay in response can mean the difference between a clean intercept and a direct hit. As it enters the final approach, the Harrow's close-in defense system comes to life. This is the Phalanx CIWS, a radar-guided, rapid-firing 20mm Gatling gun capable of unleashing 4,500 rounds per minute. In less than 2 seconds, it tracks, calculates the lead, and begins firing a stream of tungsten rounds at the incoming missile. The Phalanx does its job. The missile is shredded in midair, and flaming debris splashes into the sea less than a mile from the destroyer. Before the crew can catch their breath, another wave of threats appears. But this time, it's not cruise missiles. Radar operators detect a different kind of signature entirely: ballistic anti-ship missiles launched from deep inland. These aren't just any missiles. Intelligence quickly identifies them as the Khalij Fars and possibly Hormuz-2 types, among the most dangerous weapons in Iran's arsenal. The Khalij Fars is a variant of the Fateh 110 short-range ballistic missile, adapted specifically to hit moving ships at sea. It's one of Iran's deadliest anti-ship weapons because of its sheer speed and destructive power. U.S. Navy ships use advanced interceptors designed for these types of threats. More missiles are launched from the Harrow and Antietam, meeting the attackers high in the sky. One is destroyed during its descent, another in mid-flight, and a third is intercepted just seconds before it would have hit near the carrier. All incoming threats are neutralized. When the air is finally clear, the carrier group has taken no hits. A few crew members suffer minor injuries from the shock waves, but there's no serious damage. The fleet remains fully capable of fighting. Now, the commanders quickly move to retaliate. The U.S. has surveillance drones and patrol aircraft already in the area, and they've been tracking the launch sites in real time. These assets have pinpointed several coastal radar stations, mobile missile launchers, and command vehicles used in the attack. The retaliation is planned in 3 steps. Step 1. Destroy the radars and command centers that coordinated the missile launches. This will be done with Tomahawk cruise missiles fired from U.S. ships and submarines. These missiles are long-range guided weapons that can fly hundreds of miles to hit a precise target. Step 2. Send electronic warfare aircraft to jam any surviving radars or communications. This prevents the enemy from organizing another attack or accurately tracking U.S. ships. Step 3. Send strike fighters to hit the remaining missile launchers, ammunition storage sites, and fuel depots. The first wave begins. Several Tomahawks are launched from the Harrow, the Antietam, and a submarine positioned in the area. The missiles skim low over the sea before crossing the coastline and striking their targets. Radar stations are destroyed in direct hits, cutting off the enemy's ability to track the U.S. fleet. Command centers are also destroyed, taking out key communication hubs. Next, U.S. Navy Growler aircraft arrive to begin electronic jamming. Their job is to send powerful interference signals that blind radars and cut off radio communications. Any radar that tries to come back online is immediately targeted with anti-radiation missiles. With the enemy's sensors blinded, U.S. fighter jets begin their attack runs. The aircraft tasked with the attack were FA-18E and FA-18F Super Hornets from the carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt. These multi-role fighters had been armed specifically for the types of targets identified earlier by surveillance drones. Once airborne, they formed into groups, each heading toward a different section of the coastline where missile launchers, fuel depots, and hardened shelters had been spotted. The jets going after the mobile launchers carried 500-pound satellite-guided bombs designed for pinpoint strikes, even against moving targets. The aircraft, tasked with hitting fuel and ammunition sites, carried heavier 2,000-pound bombs meant to cause massive secondary explosions. For the reinforced bunkers, the pilots carried bunker busters with hardened casings that could punch through layers of concrete before detonating. Several aircraft also carried long-range glide bombs that could be launched from dozens of miles away. The first group came in low over the water to stay under radar detection. Using targeting pods that provided live video and infrared imagery, they located their targets in real time. One mobile missile launcher was spotted driving down a dirt road toward a concealed position. A single satellite-guided bomb was released from high altitude, homing in on the launcher and destroying it instantly. Another launcher was found parked next to a warehouse, and 2 bombs hit both the vehicle and the building, erupting in a fireball. While the airstrikes were still underway along the coast, radar operators aboard the U.S. fleet detected multiple small surface contacts moving at high speed toward the formation. They were identified as Iranian fast attack boats, the kind typically used by their navy. These boats were likely Peykop and Zulfagar-class vessels, small, fast, and heavily armed for their size. Each one was capable of carrying short-range anti-ship missiles, unguided rockets, and heavy machine guns. Their speed was over 40 knots, kicking up long white wakes across the calm water. At their current heading, they would be within weapons range of the outer U.S. ships in minutes. The USS Harrow's helicopter, an MH-60R Seahawk already in the air for patrol duty, was immediately redirected toward the contacts. The helicopter moved in low over the water, positioning itself between the fast boats and the fleet, while maintaining enough distance to react if they opened fire. From its point, the crew began transmitting live video back to the destroyer's Combat Information Center, confirming the number of boats, their weapons, and their movements. On board the Harrow, the ship's crew prepared layered defenses. The 5-inch deck gun was manned and trained in the general direction of the threat. The Phalanx close-in weapon system stood ready in case the boats got close enough to be a danger to the ship. Smaller crew-served weapons like .50 caliber machine guns were also manned along the rails. Within seconds, the Harrow's fire control systems locked onto the boat. A single high-explosive round from the 5-inch gun was fired as a warning, splashing down directly in the boat's path less than 100 yards ahead of it. The effect was immediate. The targeted boat sharply turned away and the rest of the formation followed, accelerating back toward Iranian territorial waters. The entire counterstrike operation lasts less than 20 minutes, but is devastatingly effective. By the end, Iranian forces have lost a large portion of their ability to launch more missile attacks in the near future. Surveillance confirms the destruction of multiple mobile launchers, 2 reinforced missile storage bunkers, a large fuel storage depot, and an ammunition site packed with rockets and warheads. The fuel depot alone is estimated to have held over 200,000 gallons of fuel, all of it igniting in massive secondary explosions. At least a dozen anti-ship missiles are believed to have been destroyed in their storage shelters. If you want to see more real-life military encounters and detailed breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.